I want to welcome back in our political panel. Stacy Washington, Aaron Elmore is with us, Liz Marr, and who else do we have? Amir Benno back with us as well. It's interesting. I looked into this. According to Bellwether, they had a study that came out a week ago. Aaron, we'll start with you. 3 million students in America have fallen off the grid since the start of the pandemic. 64% of American kids are already in public school at least one day a week, 64%. So that wouldn't accomplish anything. And Congress approved of that $68 billion for schools. Only $4 billion has been used so far for the PPE and the hand sanitizer and whatever they have to do to get kids back in school. But I don't know where the rest of the money went.
Well, isn't that typical when it comes to a liberal government? But this is truly a political tragedy. Florida public schools have been back all year. What makes Florida more capable? They're a red state. These kids, we are past the 100-day mark. These kids have now missed 500 hours of in-person education that they will not get back. And the people that can afford to do so have made other accommodations. They've gone to private schools. They've started pod teaching. So this is just creating a chasm that's bigger and bigger between the haves and the have-nots. Yeah. These children in inner city schools where they get 2 free meals a day are missing out on those meals. The only education in their lives often is in these schools. This is so wrong that these teachers' unions are using children as political pawns under the guise of, air quotes, safety. What do you say to the frontline workers that have been working all through the pandemic, the truck drivers that are driving around our food and other goods, the grocery store workers, the clerks? People have been working and doing it safely. Schooling and educating our children should be absolutely no different.
You make a great point about the grocery store workers, by the way. They are some of the real heroes over the last year. Think about it like this. If teachers swapped places with grocery store workers, we'd all starve. And my mom was a teacher. This is nothing against the teachers themselves, all right? They do God's work. It's an unbelievable task that they have every single day. I'm all for our teachers, but these teachers' unions are not doing anybody any favors, especially in places like San Francisco and Chicago. It's unbelievable. I have a lot to get to, so I'm going to move on here and pivot to you, Amir. Right now, what's happening with Andrew Cuomo? The FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office in Brooklyn, not in Albany, they are officially investigating Andrew Cuomo. Subpoenas have been issued. This, according to the Albany Times Union, the paper up there in the New York Capitol. My question to you as an attorney, do you think there is a legitimate chance that Andrew Cuomo at some point faces charges here?
I think there's a chance. I think that there appears to be obstruction of an investigation. I think that's what Melissa DeRosa said in her what she thought was a private call with some of the leadership from the state legislature, the Democrat side. She said that they didn't release this information about the number of nursing home deaths. And we've found out that Governor Cuomo had significantly underreported the amount of deaths, in part because they were afraid of what the DOJ was going to do with respect to an investigation. So, that seems to me pretty clear cut in terms of obstruction. So what will they do politically? One would hope they don't consider politics in this, and they're going to not consider politics and just move forward on the law. Then I think there's enough probably to bring charges, but we'll have to see what the investigation bears out.
Liz, is this it for Cuomo? No more fourth term as governor, no more presidency in 2024 or 2028?
We'll see. Look, I mean, this is just my opinion with regard to Andrew Cuomo, but this is somebody who has a lengthy history of appearing to me personally to be extremely ethically challenged, right? This is not a one-off event. This is not the first time that I've looked at Andrew Cuomo and said, wow, he seems like he's doing something that's pretty dodgy and out of bounds, right? And so I don't know. Here's the question. This has been going on for a long time in his career. He's gotten away with it. It seems like his approval ratings hold pretty steady, and he just keeps getting reelected. And certainly sitting here about 10 miles away from New York, my hope would be that maybe a big state like New York can actually come up with somebody better if they insist on having a Democrat as governor. Maybe they can come up with somebody better to actually be in that role. But they've resisted doing it so far. And I guess the upside of that is that it makes our state look better. Going back to the point about what's happening with in-person education. I mean, that's a real problem, obviously, in New York City. Here in Connecticut, which is a very blue state, actually, it's not a problem. And our schools chief is hopefully going to become the next education secretary and help resolve this situation. So, I do think Andrew Cuomo, though, is somebody who has had a lot of ethical challenges. I don't think that this is the last of it, and we'll see if he continues to have a political career. I would hope not, but I think a lot of New York voters like him inexplicably nonetheless.
Final thought, Stacy, I just want to get to you quickly there. These COVID governors governors, this is going to be part of the legacy years and years from now when this is all said and done. I think Gavin Newsom and Andrew Cuomo are going to be tied into this legacy in a not so good way.
They killed people. Can we just be real here? They killed people, and not just a few people, not just a couple thousand people, 15,000 people in New York, and that doesn't include the other states. And there are a lot of governors who are under scrutiny right now, but Cuomo gets the most scrutiny because he's from a state where all eyes were on New York during the pandemic. They still are right now. He's gotten an Emmy. He's written a book that was a bestseller. He's really traded a lot on a lack of expertise, a lack of knowledge, a lack of good decision making. And he did it all for politics. He refused to use the Javits Center and the comfort when he could have saved lives. I would hope not, New York. I would hope not.
We'll see. That election now right around the corner. Be interesting if he gets primaried or faces charges. Panel, we've got to leave it there. I really enjoyed the conversation today. Aaron, thanks so much for being with us. Stacy, Amir, Liz, always a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.